You probably know the name Edward Muybridge, or if you don't, you definitely know his work. He is the father of the motion picture, the genius who set up a row of cameras to prove that a galloping horse lifts all four hooves off the ground at once. He captured the world in motion. He was an eccentric, a visionary, and a brilliant photographer, but there's one snapshot of his life that history books often gloss over. Before he was the grandfather of cinema, Edward Muybridge was a cold-blooded killer, and the state of California let him get away with it. The year is 1874. San Francisco. Muybridge is 44 years old. He looks like an Old Testament prophet. Wild white hair, a massive beard, and intense eyes. He is famous, successful, and married to a woman half his age, 23-year-old Flora Stone, but the marriage is already crumbling. While Edward is off photographing in the wilderness, Flora begins spending time with Major Harry Larkins, a charming, dashing drama critic, and a bit of a con artist. The tragedy begins with a photograph. Muybridge is going through some possessions when he finds a photo of his infant son, Florado. On the back of the photo, in his wife's handwriting, are two words, Little Harry. His world snaps. He confronts the nurse, who reveals the truth. Flora and the Major have been lovers, and the baby isn't his. The baby is actually Major Larkins. Muybridge doesn't call a lawyer. He packs a Smith & Wesson No. 2 revolver. He tells associates simply, "I am going to find Major Larkins." It is October 17th. Muybridge tracks Larkins to a quicksilver mine in Napa County. Larkins steps out into the darkness. Muybridge speaks calmly. "Good evening, Major. My name is Muybridge, and I am here to answer to the letter you sent my wife." He shoots Larkins point blank in the chest. Muybridge waits for the police. The trial is a sensation. The People versus Muybridge. To defend him, Muybridge's lawyer presented a radical argument, temporary insanity. They pointed to a devastating stagecoach accident in Texas in 1860, where Muybridge suffered a severe head injury that left him in a coma for several days. The defense argued that this brain damage, documented by doctors as causing erratic behavior, fits of temper, and profound personality changes, made him incapable of premeditation. But the jury isn't buying the insanity plea. They see a man who carefully planned a murder. So the lawyer pivots. He ruthlessly attacks Flora's character and in court, appealing to the, quote, unwritten law that a man had the right to defend his home and his honor. The jury ignores the judge's instructions on murder and returns a verdict. Not guilty! Muybridge walked out of that courtroom a free man, but the people he left behind were destroyed. Flora, humiliated by the trial, died of an illness just 6 months after the acquittal. She was only 24 years old. And what of the boy, little Florado? Muybridge refused to have anything to do with him. He believed the boy was the spawn of the man he killed. The child was dumped into a Protestant orphan asylum, growing up alone and forgotten. But here is the final cruel twist of the knife. As Florado grew into a man, people began to notice something. He didn't look like the handsome Major Larkins. He had the same nose, the same eyes, the same gritty build as Edward Muybridge. It is very likely that Muybridge killed a man over a son that was actually his all along. The son of the father of cinema, Florado was raised as a ward of the state. He eventually found work as a humble gardener and lived a quiet life in Sacramento, dying tragically in 1944 when he was struck by a car while riding his bicycle. A life defined by a single explosive moment he never even witnessed. 4 years after the murder, Muybridge returned to work and conducted his famous experiments with motion. He never looked back. It's a strange thought to live with. The moving image, the movies we love today, exist in part because 12 men in 1874 decided that revenge was more important than the law and more important than the truth.